Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Modular, the Warframe mod review series. Today we're going to carry on taking a look at the augments available to one of my favourite frames in the game, the almighty Nyxs Prime and the augment for her Chaos Sphere. Another fairly simple augment here. What it does is that when Chaos is cast, it will project a field extending to the same range as Chaos that is cast, but at half of the duration of the Chaos. It will shrink until it disappears at that sort of half Chaos duration. So for example, say you've got a 40-second Chaos, it will immediately start to shrink and will be completely gone after 20 seconds. Any enemy that walks into the field will also be chaosed. The mod itself can be bought by rising to the rank of Maxim with the Arbiters of Hexes, or the rank of Flawless under New Loka, and spending 25,000 standing. So what do I actually think about the mod? Well, to start off with, it was honestly completely useless. Chaos when this release was not recastable. While you still even had a single target affected by Chaos, you could not recast the ability. So 99% of Nyxs players modded for negative duration, to be able to affect as many targets as possible, and as regularly as possible. When this augment first came out though, it required people to mod for duration. Many Nyxs players, myself included, felt that this augment hurt Chaos more than it actually helped it. So nobody used it at all. Fast forward something like 6 months on from then, we got a quality of life buff for a whole bunch of frames, and Chaos become recastable. So did that change how people view this augment? Well, it definitely fits into most Nyxs players' builds that much more easily. The standard build now is as much duration as range as possible, so this augment does directly just slots straight into those builds. But does that mean people are actually using this augment? And honestly still, I don't really use this augment very much, if at all. The problem with this for me is that with Chaos being recastable now, being able to have an area of effect that automatically recasts it on all enemies that enter the sphere isn't going to be anywhere near as important as it used to be. In Warframe, unless you're fighting the infested, the majority of the time the enemies aren't going to charge into you all the time. Especially if they're already shooting at you. They're going to try and take cover at a usually it's going to be a larger range than the sphere reasonably covers. Remember that while it sounds quite nice that the sphere is the same size as the original Chaos, it shrinks fairly quickly, often quicker than the enemies are actually advancing on you, making the effect of the mod almost irrelevant, except for just the infested really. Obviously there are times when you can make it work. For example, on defense, especially infested defense, where you can just cover the pod in spheres to protect against melee units, or in interception, where you can cover spawn closets and the capture points with the spheres. The problem is that because of the duration, any interception bigger than, honestly, Draco realistically, by the time you've covered the 4 points with spheres, the first one's already shrunk down and run out because it's only half a Chaos's duration. It's a mod that honestly has huge potential, and one that I wish honestly was 100% of Chaos's duration, but still it's going to have that shrinking effect, and that means it's going to slow down the shrinkage by half of what it is now effectively, but because it still has that shrinkage, it's not just going to be a straight up buff to Chaos. It's an augment that I would use very situationally. If I know I'm going to be doing an infested defense or that I'm going to be on a tiny map like Draco, then I might actually try and use and fit this mod onto my frame. However, for everyday use, for general missions, especially stuff like Exterminate, which are very fluid missions, I wouldn't use it at all. But I suppose that's not exactly a bad thing. A situational mod is always going to be better than one that is just straight up terrible. And this is not a bad mod, not in the slightest. It's just one that you are going to need to have planned in advance what you're going to be running to make the use of it. As always guys, I'd be very interested to hear your feedback on this. Many thanks for watching, and I shall see you in the next episode.